And yeah, I did a thing and wrote a book. It was 4 years in the making. Thank you. 4 years in the making, because my mom passed away 4 years ago, and that same weekend was when I started writing my first piece. And this came out on the 4-year anniversary in honor of her. So this is what I did. I'm not good at promoting myself, guys, okay? So bear with me. Okay, so it's available on Amazon for $12, or you can buy it from me right now for $10. I take card and cash, so if you have a card, you don't have an excuse. And if you don't have money on you right now, that's fine. I have business cards with the book title written on the back that you can go look up later on Amazon. All right, I'm gonna just read something now. This first piece is very short and sweet. And it's self-explanatory. A conversation. They take you off the resuscitator and your body mimics the pumping. I slide the hair from your forehead and whisper, I love you. You lift your index finger on the hand closest to me. I kiss your forehead and whisper, I'm going to miss you. A tear falls from your left eye, and gently you pass into eversleep. Thank you. Not to bring the mood down. Okay, so in this collection, there's a variety of different types of poems. So you have your traditional lyric poems. I have an erasure poem, and then a variety of documentary poetry, which is kind of a new thing, where you take pieces from existing literature. It could be news articles or essays or whatever, and you mash them all together, add in your own thing, and make it something new. So I want to actually read one of those. This is where I got the title to this book, because I combined my own lyric with Walt Whitman's When Lilacs in the Dooryard Bloom. So this is called With Ever Returning Morn. My hardest funeral was a woman who saw light in everyone and lived with no regrets. There was a stream of faces that were so sorry for our distress. Don Williams sang in the background as we three kids held hands. Oh, how shall I warble myself for the dead one there I loved? I wanted to sing with her once more, so I quietly sang with Don, and I remember my brothers joining it. And how shall I deck my song for the large sweet soul that has gone? The night before our hardest day, I laughed with Grandma as we messed up our triominoes game. We cried too. I mourned and yet shall mourn with ever returning fall. That morning, it was as if Mom was saying, smile, baby girl, it's sunrise. That day, I watched as Grandpa sat on the floor and said repeatedly to his cat, I love you, babe, I love you, babe. I realized that was how he was going to grieve. Here, coffin that slowly passes, I give you my sprig of lilac. So the separated husband and the ex-husband go to the funeral. I realized that was how Dad was going to grieve. So I laughed at his awkwardly timed joke. I cried too. I remember praying I could someday be everything she hoped I would. I remember crying too. Okay, as I find the next one. Another feature of this book, I have 3 co-written pieces. I'm not going to read it. That wasn't the next poem, but that was something else I forgot, is I have some co-written pieces in here with one of my good friends and co-workers, Tony Lieb. I don't know if any of you know him, but he has some pieces in here, because they're his words, but I formed them all together, and I wanted to say he wrote them, and I edited, but he made me say co-write, so co-written. Okay, this next piece is one of my favorite things about poetry, is that it doesn't have to just be in stanzas, is that you can play around with formatting. Anyone who workshops with me, Dallas, knows I'm a huge advocate for formatting. So this next piece I'm going to read is shaped like a compass, if anybody can see that. I don't know how well you can. There's lights, you can see, I can't see. Okay. And it's one of my favorite things because you don't have to read it in any one way. You can read it in however many different ways. 4. So yeah, this is called Cardinal Dysfunction. Delinquent son parenting from a cell 400 miles south of where they buried his only motivator will never realize he can be better even without her presence. Stoic son in South Korea marrying a woman the family never met, plans to start a life 1,000 miles west and avoids those who still grieve his overprotector. Suppressed daughter 200 miles north marks the skin between her key and wrist, releasing anger and dwelling on the absence of her first confidant. Distant father 100 miles east of his first love's grave is busy with new kids, unable to relate to his oldest 3. Supporting them seems impossible without their reason for living. Make sure I'm not forgetting something to say. Okay, I did forget something. Before I read my last piece that I'll share with you guys, you can find me on social media. It's promoting myself. It's on Facebook and Instagram, KelKB Poetry. So that's KELKAYB Poetry. Again, I have business cards, so you don't need to remember that. You can grab them. I flipped to the wrong page. I'm going to read this last piece that I wrote this year on what would have been my mom's 47th birthday. Naturally, it's titled May 3rd, 2018. I've seen your once new divinity in flocks and loose feathers as you embodied mile markers with each new road I came to. But I'm feeling you around less. It's as if your final feathers are holding on until my path illuminates with moments I may need motherly advice. Today, though, I feel you a little heavier. Today, you would have been 47. But there will be no blown candles, sung songs, or birthday prayers, just absent flames and airless hums with my thumb hovering over your old phone number, knowing the only voicemail I can leave rests on the stem of a feather with the hopes of reascending. Thank you. So again, the book is titled Sprig of Lilac, and you can find it on Amazon, or you can buy it from me for $10 right now. Okay, thanks.